so here's our next plant. So this is our still 7.5 inch spacing. So remember, we still got a lot of space both between row and within row for that plant to grow. And this is now down to our 90,000 plant population. So we've decreased it 30,000 seeds we actively planted per acre. And we do, and just kind of to highlight one of the things that I didn't mention while we were over there, is that we have done stand counts and we've gotten within 10% of our intended plant population across all of these treatments. So when I kind of interchangeably go between seeding rate and plant population, that's not intentional, that's just kind of me saying, but they are very similar. Again, we're looking at less than 10% across all of these, and I think for the most majority of these treatments we were within like 4% of our intended plant population. So we are very close between seeding rate and plant population. We had really good conditions early that kind of germinated these plants. Okay, so when we decreased our plant population by a good amount, what we did see is a lot bigger or a lot more of the impact of the branches. And in all reality, I actually see that we might have actually lost our terminal branch here, or our terminal stem. And so we might actively be all branches here. However, I do believe this branch right here has kind of taken over that terminal nature. It's got that bud cluster at the end. So we kind of will use this branch as what we would consider our main stem, but it does look like we have lost that main stem and really promoted those branches. But if we take a look here, remember we lost that main stem, so we are going to be a little bit shorter. These branches are typically just known to be a little bit shorter than our main stem, but we are at about 1 foot 10 inches. So we did lose about 8 inches compared to the other plant population. Or the higher plant population. But again, I think a lot of that's just the main stem that terminated here, and we're looking mainly at branches. Again, what we see is a good amount of potential for some 4-bean pods, but a good high amount of 3-bean pods. We are seeing a lot more podding than we did in our 120, but you got to think about that. We have 30,000 less plants, so even to achieve similar yields, we don't need as many pods on those plants as we do on these lower plant population plants. However, we would like to see more pods on those, because we are paying for more on seeding costs and potentially other costs out there. So again, what we see here, a good amount of potential. We are still seeing this fill. We don't really see a difference in maturity between these two plant populations. Something that we will talk about when we go into our row spacings is we do have some minor maturity differences here, but what I would consider a much higher plant yield potential here, because we have a higher number of pods. If we can finish all of these out, even if we don't finish out these late coming pods here, I think we have a decent to slightly higher yield potential than we do at the 120,000 plant population.